Hey, what's up, everyone? So, have you ever thought about what music sounded like way, way back, before pianos were even a thing? Today, we are going to unbox the original rock star of keyboards, an instrument that was the soundtrack for like hundreds of years.
No, seriously, just think about it for a second. Before you had the big, grand pianos we see today, what was the go-to for all the keyboard masters? What was Bach jamming on? Well, the answer is this amazing and kind of weird machine.
That's right. Meet the harpsichord. For over 300 years, this was the keyboard. If you were in a royal court, a huge church, or a fancy concert hall, you would have seen one of these. It completely owned the music scene. So how did it even work? Come on, let's pop the hood.
Okay, so to really get what makes the harpsichord special, you have to look at its mechanics. Think of this like we're doing a tech teardown on a 400-year-old gadget. What's the secret to its really unique sound?
Well, the entire secret to the harpsichord sound boils down to this one tiny thing, the plectrum. The easiest way to think about it is like a little built-in guitar pick attached to every single key. And that is so important because a piano strikes a string with a hammer, but the harpsichord plucks it. That one little difference, it changes literally everything.
So here's how it goes down. When you press a key, it pushes up this vertical piece of wood called a jack, and attached to that jack is the plectrum. As the jack goes up, the plectrum catches the string and plucks it. It's actually a really simple but super clever mechanical process, and the result is that signature, bright, crisp sound. So yeah, it really all comes down to this, plucking versus striking. Think about the sound a guitar makes when you use a pick versus just tapping the string with a hammer. That pluck gives you that bright, kind of twangy sound that fades out pretty fast. A hammer strike gives you a powerful, sustained note. It's the same idea here, and it gives each instrument a totally different personality. And this is where it gets really different from a piano. On a harpsichord, hitting the keys harder does, well, nothing. The pluck is always the same volume. It's like the sound in an old video game. It's just set. So how did players get any variety? Well, a lot of harpsichords had two keyboards, or manuals. Switching between them was kind of like swapping your character's loadout in a game to get a different tone or effect. Pretty cool, right? So, who were the pro players who mastered this thing?
All right, so who were the superstars? The pro players who were really pushing this instrument to its absolute limits. Because the harpsichord wasn't just background music, it had its own legends.
The harpsichord had an incredibly long and awesome run. It started out during the Renaissance for all that elegant court music, but then in the Baroque era it became an absolute powerhouse. That was its golden age. Composers were really unlocking its potential, making it the star of the show, right before the piano showed up and started changing the game.
Now, if we're going to talk about harpsichord masters, there's one name you absolutely have to know: Domenico Scarlatti. This guy was a composer who didn't just write for the harpsichord, he made it come alive. He figured out ways to make it sound expressive, even without being able to change the volume with his touch. And get this, the man wrote over 500 sonatas. And we're not talking about, long, boring pieces. These were short, intense bursts of energy and pure genius. And almost all of them were designed specifically to show off what the harpsichord could do. Honestly, you could think of Scarlatti's style like a musical speed run. His pieces are famous for these ridiculously fast parts and super tricky hand crossings. It's like a gamer showing off their crazy high APM. He knew exactly how to use the harpsichord's clear sound to make music that was agile, fun, and incredibly hard to play. Okay, so we've kind of danced around the differences, but let's just put them side by side. It is time for the ultimate keyboard showdown: harpsichord versus its bigger, louder descendant, the piano. So this chart pretty much breaks it all down. The harpsichord gives you that bright, precise sound, but with a fixed volume. The piano brings the power, the sustain, and that all-important touch sensitivity. I mean, they're both keyboards, sure, but they are built for completely different ways of playing and expressing music.
So when the piano showed up, was it just game over for the harpsichord? Not at all. Its influence is still huge today, and there's a really good reason we still study and play it.
So here's the big takeaway. The harpsichord's legacy is massive. Because players couldn't use volume to be expressive, they had to get good, like really good. They had to become masters of speed and precision. You could almost say the harpsichord was the ultimate training ground that created the keyboard legends who came later.
And that kind of leaves us with this awesome question to think about. Imagine a pro gamer from the 90s suddenly getting a top-of-the-line gaming rig from today. What crazy stuff could they pull off? In the same way, imagine if a master like Scarlatti, who made magic happen within the limits of the harpsichord, was suddenly given a modern grand piano. What kind of mind-blowing music do you think he would have made? Let me know what you think. See you next time.